ups and downs and the way things went. And but I'm going to tell you now, Maryland, you know, I've been saying about Maryland and about Rutgers and about some of these teams that people don't respect. I mean, you saw some pretty damn good players. We did a hell of a job early. We did what we do. We let down a little bit. All of a sudden the gaps got bigger, and then they started driving us and then started kicking out. And, you know, Ayala, kid came up to me before the second half started, and he was wiping his feet on the mat, you know, to go in. And he looks at me, he goes, "God, Coach, I'm trying to figure this out." And I said, "Well, don't." And then he hit 3 threes in a row, and I said to him after the game, "Damn it, you figured it out." And hell of a performance by him. We did do a pretty good job on Russell, a hell of a player. Dante Scott, I think, you know, defensively we were better most of the game, and that was the difference. We shot pretty well. We out-rebounded them, and we guarded them. And that's what we haven't been doing in the last 5 games. We haven't been guarding anybody. And so we did. And as they say, defense wins whatever, games, championships, whatever. I mean, you got to be able to guard somebody, and you got to take care of the ball. I got 2 of my good buddies from the NFL here, and I say every time I ask Mariucci who's going to win the Super Bowl, it's either team with the most guys left standing or turnovers. And I always tell my team that. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter what sport it is. And when you have some of those turnovers for touchdowns like we had, I felt bad for Max. I mean, he's probably, him and Gabe are my hardest working guys. And I mean, I never saw the ball go through his hands and things that happened. And but we'll grow from it. We'll learn from it. And it's always easier to learn after a win, and that's what we'll do. So, questions?
Tom, I know one game doesn't equal momentum, but after how the last couple went, I mean, how important is getting something like this before you head into the Big Ten tournament?
Well, it kind of puts you back in the human race, and I think it's very important. You know, we just haven't been able to put together some games, so now the trick will be, can we put together a couple practices? Can we clean up maybe some of those spots, you know? We're 20 up, and then all of a sudden we're 10 up. Then we're 18 up, and all of a sudden we're 8 up. Then we're 15 up, and then all of a sudden we're 3 up, you know? Those spots, and they happen quickly. And so all we can do is show them that film, show them why we think it happened, and hopefully get a little better from there. And that's what we'll try to do. But the momentum, I don't know. I said the one thing I do like about this team is we've done it before. We've guarded before. We've shot 85% from the free throw line. When I say before, I mean over 20 games. What we hadn't done is taken care of the ball, and now we're starting to do that on a much better pace. But I just believe that if we could realize that we've done these things before, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to shoot 80% from the line when we've been shooting 50, or I don't have to shoot 38% from the 3 when we've been shooting 25. I mean, we've been there. It's been there consistently. That we have to improve on, and I guess that's my job.
With the way you guys came out, first the scripted lob to Marcus, and then he hits a couple threes, you getting things from Joey and Gabe, and then Gabe's finishing stretch there when they cut it to 3. How much did you see what you really need and want from your seniors tonight?
You know, I was really impressed with Marcus tonight. We did go to him early, but I was more impressed in the huddles than I was with his play. He matured. He willed us to win. Gabe, I think, had his moments when that senior stuff you talk about, you know, where you are so excited. And then he settled down and made some big shots and big plays during that one stretch. And Joey was solid as a rock. I mean, he made some passes and got some rebounds. I don't know how many rebounds he ended up with, but says 5. It seemed like he was getting a lot of rebounds. But he had 5 assists for a guy like him. That's a lot. So I thought all 3 of them played well, and I thought Mike's cameo was the best. He didn't make a turnover, he didn't miss a shot, and he didn't miss a free throw. So that was really good on Mike's part. And Mike's been Division II guys. We all love Division II guys, and he has been really good for my basketball team. Don't underestimate the value that kid has brought to us this year. He won a national championship in Division II, and anytime you know how to win something, you're in a special place for me.
Tom, you've raised banners out there before, but I imagine you are as appreciative of this group with what they've been through and with, as you kind of outlined there, as any you've had?
Yeah, you know, we went 3 years in a row where on senior night we raised a banner. I mean, so you got to be a little disappointed if you're not raising a banner, and yet, you know, there's a lot of people who don't raise any banners. So what I'm appreciative of is, I've said it all along, and everybody's gone through it, but everybody handles it differently. This couple of years has been amazing, you know, I got a call from John Calipari today, and you know, and he talked about our job is still to push kids, and even though the surroundings make you kind of question it, you know, how much can kids take now with all the stuff they're going through? And so I kind of told my guys that story, and I said, you know, we got to throw it out the window. And so I think I had to do a better job too, as I always said, you know, it's not one person's fault. It's not just the players, not assistant coaches, not the coach. It's everybody's. Everybody's got to, hopefully part of the wins, like the 663. I told you I didn't win one of them, and everybody's been part of the losses. And we got to figure out how to make sure we don't do the things we did to make those losses happen on a regular basis like they were. And some of it, so you know, I mean, there's teams that are better than us right now, you know, but I don't think there's anybody we can't beat either. Unfortunately, I don't think there's many teams that can't beat us, but I think that seems to be something all around the country, you know.
I know you've downplayed your record, but because you thought so much of Bob Knight, does it mean something extra to be ahead of him?
It will. You know, it's almost humiliating now, a little embarrassing, because, I don't know, you know, I mean, I idolized Bob Knight when I got here. He was my hero, you know. John Wooden, for some, I was not quite, you know, I didn't know enough about him, so it was Bob Knight, you know, and what he stand for, what he did, and how he treated me. You know, that was my first Big Ten victory, was against Indiana, and he treated me the same then as he did when we beat him the year we went to the Final Four, and he gave me some great advice that told me how to handle the media. Kind of an oxymoron there, I guess, but I mean, he did tell me how to handle the media and the road, and you know, to get to a national championship, because he felt our team was good enough. And I'll always remember that way more than the number of wins, because the number of wins, they go by, you know, who knows how the competition was then compared to now and all those things, but records are made to be broken. And if I'm in the same sentence with Bobby Knight and Gene Cady, for Tom Izzo, that's a hell of a place to be.
Coach, you could argue that this group of seniors has been through more adversity than any group you've had. They've been to the first four. They've been to the Final Four. What can you say about their perseverance?
That's a hell of an intelligent question right there. They have been. You know, the first four experience wasn't great, but we have been through a lot. They've won a couple of championships. They've, you know, gotten to a Final Four, as you said, and then they've been through the pandemic. I mean, let's not forget that. You know, that was hard on some of them. I told you with Joey, I mean, you know, that year was a disaster in a lot of ways, and not all his fault, just the way, you know, he was built to handle it. And so I think we all learned a lot. But you know what I learned in the end? There's only one way to be great. You still got to push people. You still got to demand of people. You still got to make people feel uncomfortable. And what I always tell them, and my favorite thing is, my job is to make you do things that you don't even believe you can do. And that's not always fun, but I think it's the only way you become ultra successful. And sometimes in this last year and a half, I'm not sure I did as good a job of that. So, you know, they're going to get better, and I'm going to get better, and we're going to get better. How's that?
Tom, maybe one of those guys has been Malik Hall, that you're trying to push and get to a level that he doesn't even know. And after a couple really difficult games, his second half was pretty key for you guys. I'm wondering the conversations you had with him between the time in Columbus and then what you got from him tonight.
You should ask him. There were a lot of conversations, a lot of phones, texts, and one early morning meeting. And, you know, the other thing I try to tell guys is I'm not stupid, at least most of the time. And I think that if I am pushing somebody, I know he's got a lot to give. You know, I'm not trying to get Steven to score 30 points, you know. I'm just trying to, I have a lot of respect, a lot of admiration, and a lot of confidence in Malik Hall. I think sometimes he doesn't have that. And so if I just let it go, he's going to be average. And if I don't, he's going to be mad at me. So, you know, it's a tough thing to deal with, especially during the pandemic. But I learned something this last 3 weeks too. I mean, this doesn't, players learn, coaches learn too, and I'm gonna be a better coach for it.
Anything else, guys? I don't know how much you were asked about Marcus specifically, but you know, there have been many times over the years where I know you didn't know which direction that was going to go with Marcus, and when you go through it with guys like that, I guess, what does it actually feel like to see, you know, approaching a finish line?
I was proud of Marcus tonight. I did say that. I was proud of him because, you know, as I've told you, we negotiated. You know, it's a negotiation now. It's not a dictatorship like it used to be. It's a negotiation, and we negotiated inside-out threes, and he hit a couple big ones. We did negotiate time and situations. That one on the left wing was a little part of that, but I said, you rebound, and you can do this. You know, that's part of the negotiation. Guy had 11 rebounds, but what I was proudest of him, if you would have heard the huddles are interesting things now that Draymond's gone. You know, they're not R-rated, they're crazy, but they're good. And when Marcus was kind of begging people, willing people, I never saw that side of him. And so some players grow in a lot of different ways. Marcus Bingham grew that winning has become more important than individual play. And man, that's a hell of a thing to take with him for the next 60 years, I think. So I'm proud of him. I really am. I'm happy for him. And, you know, next year when he's somewhere, I'm going to still be calling him and telling him that he's got to keep lifting weights and get stronger and eat better. And it's not going to change. But you know what thing I'm really proud of? Marcus has 3 classes left to graduate. I think he'll be the first in his family. And that's been a fist fight. And I asked him the other day, you know, what if I'd have gave in to you? Would you have gotten it done? He started to say yes, and I took a baseball bat out of my closet and said, don't do it. And he laughed, and he said, no, probably not. And that's kind of that's the way you got to deal with people nowadays. And he's going to be a better player. And I don't think he's done. I think this could give him a shot in the arm because he rebounded. I mean, yeah, he hit a couple of threes. So for Marcus, that's utopia, you know. For the coaches, 11 rebounds, and what he did there is utopia. Played pretty good defense. I thought that was great.
Coach, I don't know if you've seen the Big Ten tournament bracket, but you wind up drawing Maryland again on Thursday night. Do you think it's an advantage or a disadvantage to have to play the 2 teams in a row, the same 2 teams twice in a row?
Probably the assistants that have to scout it are feeling a little better. I'm not sure it's an advantage. You know, now you got to beat a team 3 times, but it is what it is, you know. We beat Wisconsin 4 times to win the national championship. I mean, it is what it is. And would you hope to play somebody else? Maybe. But I don't care. I'm just glad we're playing with a little better feel. We know them. Maybe we won't let Ayala shoot the ball this time, but I'm not sure we'll get off to an 18-1 start like we did either. So that was pretty cool. But all in all, you're right. I feel like this team is good enough, and we're going to find out in the next 3 days where they want to take it, because we can clean up those mistakes. They weren't. I mean, there were some crazy mistakes. We can clean those up. We can get back to, we're still shooting the ball well. I don't. What did we shoot from the line? 76. That's pretty good. I mean, so all those things we did well. Our defense we did well, and now we just got to put them together and try to do it for 40 minutes instead of 30, 35, 25, whatever. So I appreciate it. You got guys here to talk to. You can talk to them, and see you guys. Some of you guys down